Excuse me? You want me to do what? Oh, you and your projects. Jeez. Here.
Hey everyone, my name is Amy. I'm a former healthcare worker, and right now I am sheltering in place because we have a pandemic going on in this country. I'm going to show you today how to make a couple of different kinds of face masks out of easily found and simple materials that have an excellent seal on your face, and they don't require sewing because I don't sew. I think face masks are extremely important for us to all get in the habit of using every time we must venture outside. This isn't an excuse to go out whenever you want just because you have a face mask. But there are times when we absolutely have to leave our homes to get food, to go to appointments that cannot be missed, and other, valid reasons. So let's just look at how to make a face mask that we can put together easily and throw on whenever we go out of the house, and keep ourselves and our communities so much safer. So wearing a mask outdoors when you go out into public is important. For one, they help prevent you from spraying droplets out of your mouth and out of your nose. If you sneeze, if you cough, having a mask in place will prevent the droplets from leaving you and flying out across the airspace and potentially infecting another person. When we go out, and even when we do our day-to-day lives here now in this strange time that we're living in, we need to consider the fact that we might be infected. We might not know we're infected because they're saying now that up to 50% of people can be totally asymptomatic when they have COVID-19. So 50% of us could be walking around infected and not know it, and we could be infecting other people, and that's how this spreads like wildfire. So we need to think about covering our faces for that main reason alone. Another reason to wear a mask is to prevent us from touching our faces, touching our eyes, touching our noses and mouths. Human beings are hardwired to touch our faces. I mean, we just do it all the time, and it's nearly impossible to stop it. One way to stop it is to put a mask or a barrier between your hands and your face. So one of the best reasons to wear a mask really is to prevent us from touching our faces after we touch infected surfaces. And the other reason to do it is because it can also help us keep us from getting infected ourselves through airborne particles and droplets. It's not 100% effective. This is not an N95 mask I'm talking about. This is a very simple homemade cloth face mask, but it still has up to a 70 to 75% filtration effectiveness, which is pretty darn good. It's a lot better than nothing. So I'm really encouraging people to not think about going out without a mask, not going into the grocery store, not being around people or infected surfaces without a mask on. So let's talk about types of masks. There are basically two types of masks that we're talking about when we are looking at protecting our faces from our airways from virus infiltration. There is the respirator mask, which is used by healthcare professionals, and we are in somewhat short supply still, even after all this time. Hopefully they will step up production so that nobody can go without PPE when they are working in a healthcare environment, working on our front lines and treating coronavirus. But those we were going to reserve for the healthcare providers because they're not easily available to the general public right now. The N95s, which are the kind of the gold standard of a respirator mask, provides approximately 90 to 95% filtration effectiveness. So it filters out pretty much everything that's coming in the environment around healthcare providers. So we're going to just leave those aside and look at just a simple face mask. Face masks are still effective. They still provide us with, up to 75, 80% filtration effectiveness, which is better than nothing. Let's talk about the masks that I'm going to be making for you today. I'm using very interesting materials, namely men's boxer briefs. This is a cotton version, which is soft, stretchy, and it provides about a 71% filtration effectiveness, which is pretty good. It's not the best, but it's fine for those of us who are going out into the public. This is a cotton version. This one is a cotton poly blend. Cotton poly blend has a slightly higher filtration effectiveness, around 75%. Again, this is a very soft, very stretchy material, which is exactly what we're looking for when we make our new face mask. So what inspired me to use men's boxer briefs was a little video I saw on Facebook of a woman who took a pair of boxers and turned it into a full head scarf face mask, which I found pretty amusing, and it made it so I wanted to try it out. So that is one way of making the mask. I'm just going to show that again because I found it to be pretty cool. I mean, it's a thing that you can do without destroying your boxers, which is the other mask that I'm going to make. So you can use them again for briefs. So I'm just going to demonstrate the full head face mask. What you're going to do is you're going to take the boxers and you're going to put one of these legs over your head and the other leg is going to go behind you like this. Take off your glasses first. So you're going to pull it down like this, and this is essentially your face mask. You have one layer of jersey material between you and the world. And then what you're going to do is you're going to reach around behind and you're going to reach into the other leg and grab the band, the waistband, and you're going to pull it through the leg. And then you're going to take that waistband, you're going to pull it up over your head like this. And now you have a face and head mask. It's very snug. It feels pretty comfortable. You can adjust it, feel more comfortable. You have really good coverage here. If you're going out into a place where you're going to be around a lot of people, it's kind of nice to cover your hair as well as your face. If you're in that kind of environment, you're probably going to want to come home and shower afterwards anyway. But this is a effective and very easy to make face mask. It's a little hot in the summertime. It looks a little funny. A lot of people aren't going to be really comfortable going out in public like this, but it's still an option, and I think it's a fun way to make a face mask that will also be effective. After we have our mask exactly how it feels comfortable and we like how it fits, we're going to have to remember that part of wearing your mask is wearing eye protection too. Since I wear glasses, it's very simple for me to simply put on my glasses. If you don't wear glasses, you really should consider getting some protective safety glasses from a hardware store, because part of the way that this disease transmits is through our eyes, and it's very tempting to rub our eyes at times. So when we touch infected surfaces, we don't want our hands touching our eyes, and the glasses help remind us not to do that. So when we go to take these masks off, we need to visualize that the outside surfaces of these masks after we've been out in public could potentially be infected with droplets or, virus on your mask. So when you take them off, reach up inside the mask with your hands and go all the way up here and make it so that when you pull it off, the mask does not touch your skin. And that way you can take off the mask without reinfecting yourself, and you can put it in the laundry. So the pros and cons of the full boxer head covering face mask is you can reuse the boxers. You can cover your entire head, but it might be a little hot in summer. It's a single layer of face mask as opposed to a double layer, which is the other mask I'm going to make for you. And it looks a little bit odd. So those are something you need to weigh when you go with the full boxer head mask. The boxer leg mask, which is the other one I'm going to make for you today, you'll have to cut up your briefs, so they're not going to be usable again for briefs. You're going to have a double layer of face mask, which is really nice. And these are lighter and more comfortable, and they look more like a traditional face mask. So the next face mask I'm going to make for you is what I call a boxer brief leg face mask. It basically just utilizes the legs of the boxer briefs, and it is a much lighter weight and more traditional looking face mask when you're done. So these are mediums. These are actually a large size boxers. I'm going to use the cotton poly blend because they have a slightly higher filtration effectiveness. And what you're going to do is you're going to reach into one leg and you're going to pull the other leg out. And what you're going to do is you're going to line up the hems of both of these legs together. And you're going to shake it out. So you've folded your boxer briefs in halves with one leg inside of the other. So try to line up these hems so they're fairly even. It's not going to line up exactly up here at the waistband, elastic band, because of the way that the boxers are cut. But what you want is to try to make it as even as possible here down on the legs. So you want these to line up quite tight together. So it looks like this. And you're going to need a couple of tools. You're going to need your ruler and a marker, a pair of scissors, a couple of pipe cleaners, and now you can make your cuts. Again, you want these to be fairly even here so that it all comes out even at the end. What I'm going to do is I'm going to measure 7 inches. 7 inches gives you enough space to have the mask basically cover all of your face and down into your under your chin and into your neck as well. So you make a little mark at 7, and you make another little mark at this side at 7. And now is when you say goodbye to these as boxer briefs, and you are going to cut across from mark to mark with a pair of scissors. You don't have to worry about this being an exactly perfect cut, or if the edges are a little jagged, that's okay. I'm just using regular scissors, and if you have fabric scissors, that's even better. Discard the top, and this is what your mask is going to be like. This is the front of the mask. It goes over your nose. And one thing we can do here that will make it a much more effective and good seal is we can insert some pipe cleaners into the hem that's going to cover your nose, over the top of your nose, and we can form this to make a better seal around your nose. So you take your pipe cleaners and you center them on one of the legs on the hem, and then inside the hem you take your little scissors, which I've got some smaller scissors that are a little more precise. Make a little cut here, And then you can fold the end of the pipe cleaner over just the very tip. Make a really sharp fold here. That makes it so when you insert the pipe cleaner, it doesn't get caught on the fabric. It slides right in like that. Except for the fact that this isn't. There we go. And now it's inside here, and you do the same for the other hem that's going to be over your nose. You're going to have double layer of fabric here. Okay, so now I have 2 pipe cleaners inserted into the front of the new mask, into the 2 hems that are going to be going over my nose. And now I can put it on. So I have 2 pipe cleaners here that I can mold to hug my nose. And now I have a much better seal around my nose. So this is a much lighter weight mask. It has 2 layers of a filtration effectiveness of 70% or 75% covering my nose, which doesn't add together to be 150%, but it does make it so that it's a much more effective filtration than just a single layer. You can feel that you're breathing through 2 layers, and it makes it so that you have less possibility of droplets either coming into your mask or coming out of your mask when you cough and sneeze. It's a very comfortable mask to wear. You can also, if you don't like the way it looks when it's hanging down here, you can tuck it in back here and take a safety pin and pin it where you like it. Now it is much more hugging my face. Looks more like a regular mask instead of like a something you'd see in a cowboy movie. So that's it. You just cut off the legs. You put on you put the pipe cleaners on. They help hold the mask up. They also help prevent your exhalations from going up into your glasses, which can fog them up. So you know it's being more effective because my glasses aren't getting fogged up. You can also put these pipe cleaners in, or a pipe cleaner in, if you're going to do the whole head mask. You just have to make a little cut in the hem, insert your pipe cleaner right there. That makes that mask a lot more effective too. So that is how you make your 2 face masks. They're simple to make, they're easily found materials, they have a pretty good effectiveness rate, they will give you added safety when you go out of the home. They'll help prevent you from touching your face, from coughing out materials that might be infectious, and from breathing in other people's infectious viruses. And they offer, a good way to make yourself and your community safer. So I highly recommend that you wear a face mask every time you go out. It's the best thing to do during this time.